Hey everyone, finally I am getting the chance to talk with Ankur Warikoo, and this is an episode in which we talked about the importance of college, about starting up while in college, about investing, about cryptocurrencies, and a whole lot more. I am sure that you will be enjoying this episode and you'll get to learn something from this. This is a long one, but the timestamps are in the description. Go check them out, and I hope you enjoy this. Make sure that you hit the like button, and here is the conversation. Hey Ankur, thank you so much for joining me here. And how are you doing?
Thank you so much, Ishan, for having me here. I'm doing well in these rather unusual and tough times, and I hope you are doing well as well.
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to talk to you today. Let's get started with the first question, and that is, how did you even start your journey as a content creator on YouTube?
So for that, I'll have to take you a long time back, Ishan. So the year is 2005, which is 16 years back, and I've just joined ISB, which is the business school I went to. And at that point of time, there was just so much happening every day, every week, that I felt that I needed a way to record all of those emotions. So I started blogging. And उस point पे blogs ही होते थे, तो you would just go and type and just keep blogging. And I continue to do that for the longest time. I still blog every day, which not a lot of people know of. And in 2013, when I was running Groupon, I realized that a great way for us to hire the best talent would be actually to create a brand. Because if people think of a brand, then they suddenly are somewhat comfortable with maybe itna zyada paisa nahi chahiye, maybe itne aggressive ESOPs nahi chahiye, because there is this brand association that they feel comfortable with, that they love. And that's what we started doing. I started spending time creating content on Quora, and this was about answering questions, but whatever people may have. Then LinkedIn came up with a video feature, and this was 2016, I think. And it was very clear that people had stopped reading. Sab log sirf video dekh rahe the because Geo had happened and the entire country had transformed. So I started converting my blogs into videos, and I started posting them on LinkedIn. And uske chalte, then it was like a natural, I would say, evolution that YouTube happened. And in 2017, I started my YouTube channel. Did that for 3 years till March 2020. And the progress was okay. I had like some 9,000 subscribers or something. And then in March 2020, I built around a team. I started to double down on that. And now I am enjoying the YouTube journey.
Amazing. For me also, YouTube happened accidentally because I was making Spotify podcasts and all that I recently saw you are also doing. So back then I went to my friend, I was just like, मैंने podcast बनाया, you can listen to this. And he was just like, podcast क्या होता है? In India, people don't know about podcasting as much as they do in Western countries. So, but they did know what YouTube is. They didn't know what YouTube videos are. So I thought, let's make a YouTube video, that this is the time for me to do that. It's also interesting how you started creating content on YouTube from 2016 and only now you're blowing up on like everyone's feed.
I wouldn't say blowing up.
It takes time.
It is happening.
Yeah. Something is happening.
Something is happening.
One problem that I have faced as a content creator on YouTube is sometimes there are people that try to put you down online. I don't know if you have faced this, but certainly for me it happens. When I was starting off initially, a lot of my college students who I was friends with, they started saying that ye kya kar rahe ho and all that. They started spreading negativity and hate. So how do you balance that with making content and not caring too much about it? How do you deal with negativity online? Basically, that's what my question is.
It's a very good question, Ishan, and there are steps to dealing with it. Of course, the most basic one is try and ignore, but it's easier said than done because of course we are all humans, and कुछ भी अगर हम अपने बारे में गलत पढ़ते हैं या कुछ ऐसा सुनते हैं या देखते हैं which makes us feel like, oh shit, the person thinks of me like that, then it affects us, and it affects us deeply. But over the years, there are a few truths that I've realized, Ishan, which I think just come with age, and because you're young, you'll get to that point. My intention of sharing it with you is hopefully you get to it sooner than I did. And the biggest realization of that is whatever people are sharing and talking about others, is actually a reflection of how they look at themselves and not about the other person. When people ask you, hey, kya kar raha hai, who are from your batch, who know you, in some way, they're trying to pull you down because they know that they can never be you, that they will never have the courage to go out, to put themselves out in a way that you are. And that's why their way of still rationalizing in their head of why they don't need to do it is by pulling you down, because they can't elevate themselves to your spot. So the best thing that they can do is pull someone to their level. And when you begin to see the world like that, when you begin to just pause on any troll, on any bad comment, and just repeat to yourself, this is not about me, but it's about how the person looks at themselves and what they are going through in their life. You suddenly, instead of having a negative reaction, at least for me, I begin to have an empathetic reaction, which is almost like I feel a level of becharapan for that person. Now they've got to this level ki they don't have anything positive to say about this, and the only reaction they can come up with is that of negativity. So unki zindagi kitni disturbed hogi for them to be in this spot, because I'm not in that spot. When I look at people who are creating content, like you were speaking about Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary has been doing this for donkey's years, and he gets a lot of shit online. But his way of dealing with it is also the same thing that I said, which is just empathy towards people who can only speak and spit venom. So I think it takes some conditioning. It's not easy to get to. In the early days, it can really get to you. And that's why at least one tactical thing that I do is I never, ever, ever check the reactions on my content in the first half of the day, because I want my first half to be productive. I want things to get done. That is my most productive time, when I get up, when I do all the things that I have to. So I just make sure that I never, ever check the reaction on my content there. I just see how it's doing, but I'm not reading the comments of people or responding to them.
All right, makes a lot of sense. That was deep. Okay, let's talk about startups. And I personally have worked at a startup that was started by a fellow graduate from my own college. So I was just like, let me help him out with his startup, marketing it, growing it, Facebook ads and all that. And one question I always used to think is this the right age for me to do this? I talked with my director of my college. I had a meet with him just like we were talking, and he said, why are you in so much hurry? And he was just like, do your studies, get good grades, and graduate, and then do whatever you want to do. Life is long. You have 70 years right now left. You can do it whenever you want. And I'm just like, I just don't feel that. Like, if I have an idea that I think that I can bring some service or a product and I can sell it to people that need them the most, then why should I wait till I graduate or something? So I just want to ask this question. Paul Graham also says this, that you should not start a startup in college. What are your thoughts on this?
I think my reaction is, you should not start up because the world is starting up and you think you should also start up. You should start up when you genuinely want to start up, and that could be at any age. There are enough and more examples, Ishan, of students who start up not because they want to, but because they feel that that's the cool thing to do. They start up because they see their friends doing it. They start up because they're in a shitty job or in a shitty college and they don't like their life, so they want to escape that life and do something that is a distraction. All of which are wrong reasons. They want to start up because they want to make money. The worst reason to. So if you start up for the wrong reason, I feel that at any age, you will always be starting wrong. It's likelier to happen young because that's when most of you are under peer pressure. Most of us are ambitious. Most of us want to make quick money. Most of us want to get fame and success and popularity. So it's easy to fall into the trap, which is why when advice comes to you that don't think of starting up in college, it's not so much about one shouldn't start up in college. It is more about don't start in college because of the wrong reasons.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Then
there was this one book, Elizabeth Holmes' Bad Blood. In that, her parents ask her that, what do you want to do when you grow up? And she says, I want to be a billionaire and I want to marry the president.
Exactly.
And we all know how that went.
We don't all know how that went. Yeah. So
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
wrong with what she did, but just ambitious and ambitious at all costs. So
Mm-hmm.
then it
Mm-hmm.
just goes downhill from there, and we all know what happened.
I want to go back to this buzzword creator economy that a lot of people talk about these days. Do you think it is sustainable as a creator, or do you think it's more like you be a creator for 3, 4, 5, 6 years and then you build a business and that sustains for the rest of your life? It's still very early on. Like YouTube is seen as the big place and it's only been here for like 20 years at max. So what do you think about this?
So for me, a creator serves two purposes. One is that they're just creating for the love of it. And that could be for a really long time. It could be for a short time, but frankly, it doesn't matter. But two, which is where business or economics comes in, is you are creating to build a distribution. And that is what most smart creators are thinking of. Can I create a distribution that helps me distribute whatever is it that I wish to distribute? It could be knowledge, it could be content, but it could be other things as well. So there could be distribution of your business, there could be distribution of your idea, there could be distribution of money, there could be distribution of whatever. But you basically have a network or a reach that you're able to capitalize on for something. And if you think of the creator economy as such, then I feel most individuals in the world do recognize that having a distribution and network where people give you attention and they hear you out is extremely valuable. I don't think, for example, Tesla would be Tesla if Elon Musk would not be on Twitter, which has nothing to do with making cars, which has nothing to do with the science and the technology behind Tesla. But he has this distribution, this following, this persona, this image that he's created just by being who he is. And the same way, if you think of a Naval Ravikant, he would not be as famous in the startup ecosystem for having done what he did in the startup world as he would be because of what he did in the Twitter world. Yeah. And because of what he did in the Twitter world, he suddenly becomes this proponent and this voice for a lot of things that he also stands for, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's meditation, whether it's personal growth, all the things that he actively cares about and speaks. So I feel if you think of the creator economy as a stepping stone for creating a distribution, and then using that distribution to spread your ideas, your thought, your businesses, whatever is it that you wish to, then that's a great way. And I generally feel that the world is now going to lie in the hands of these mega creators and these distribution powerhouses, which will ride on different platforms, and simply the platforms will need them more than they need the platforms.
All right, makes a lot of sense. What do you think about colleges in general, in India particularly, and do you think they will become irrelevant at one place in time? Now that this lockdown thing happened, everyone realized that, oh, there's a lot that we can learn online. We don't necessarily need to pay the huge fees. Do you think it's a threat to the typical college universities in India? Because I feel really bad, like spending so much and attending those Zoom classes. The professors are not feeling too excited. They are also having been depressed because of all the situation, but they're just teaching because of the sake of teaching. Not to be disrespectful, but it's just not much interactive. And I can just get like a 500 rupee course and I can learn about programming or something. So what do you think about this? Like, people have a lot of importance on education in general, higher education. And do you think this can change, this can evolve to a point where people can realize, okay, I can learn a lot of things online, I can learn a lot of things from books, and I don't necessarily need to get to the top of the best places like IITs and all. What do you think about this?
So the way that you'll have to break this up, Ishan, is the following. The ability to learn outside of college has always existed. Online and internet has made it easier, but it's not that this is a new thing. You always had libraries and you could go and read if you wanted to. There were always courses that you could attend outside of school and college. And yes, now almost everything is online. So people now see it in a far bigger way. The purpose of college was never to teach. The purpose of college was to create a signaling mechanism. And the signaling mechanism is that for a profession, for a career, there is a signal that you need, which comes before people know of you as an individual. So people don't know Ishan, but they know that you're from Bits Pilani. They're like, oh, you're from Bits Pilani.
I've tried to do the opposite thing. Yeah, I've tried to make sure that no one recognizes me as like, ये तो bits वाला है and all, ये तो IIT वाला है. I have never really used that as a way to get engagement, to get more eyeballs. I just never wanted to do that. A lot of people do that. That's completely fine. But I just thought I want to do it on my own. Like people want to recognize me as me.
Exactly. No, and that's a great thing. But a lot of people use college as a signaling platform, and that serve the purpose. So essentially what we need is, if we have to replace college or for college to become irrelevant, the signaling has to move from college to something else. But the signaling has to exist, because that is the only way that you deal with volume. If a company has to hire 100 people, it's not going to go to every college and every platform in the world to look for those 100. It's going to go to a select audience and conserve their energy and their effort. तो वो कहाँ जाएंगे? Right now, the choices are कि वो IIT जाते हैं, वो BITS जाते हैं, वो NIT जाते हैं if they have to go to an engineering college, या फिर Delhi University जाते हैं, या Bombay University जाते हैं, या Bangalore University जाते हैं if they have to go for normal undergrad colleges or courses. So if there is something that replaces that signaling, then that could replace college, because the learning is free for all and the learning is available right now. So I do feel that in the next 10 years, there will be things that will replace college as a signaling platform.
Coding boot camps are one, for example.
Sorry?
For programming particularly, we have coding
like
boot camps that are totally...
Lambda school is a great signaling platform.
There are so many startups in India particularly. They are just like copies of Lambda school and they are doing really well right now.
Exactly, right? So all of those things are great. And if you have a way of getting people selected and shortlisted, give them a great experience that they are ready for a job, then that's the signal, and that will sooner than later replace college.
Let's talk about cryptocurrencies. This is something that a lot of people are confused about. A lot of articles and blogs are there saying that cryptocurrencies are banned in India when there's only a bill that is there. They have to still discuss on that. What do you think about this whole crypto movement, and do you believe in it? And if so, I read this news saying that they want to make their own cryptocurrency that will be regulated. If a cryptocurrency is regulated by a central authority, then that's not going to be a cryptocurrency in the first place. That's what my first reaction was. That just becomes like a digital rupee.
So I do like the evolution of how it is, at least in the context of money, because cryptocurrency is usually used in the context of money. Blockchain is the bigger and the more exciting technology behind it, which can be used for a lot of other things, not just money. But if you think of cryptocurrency from the fiat currency that we're used to, which is centralized, which is regulated by someone who has the authority to do whatever they want to do with it, crypto basically is decentralized, and that is the beauty of it. There is no power that rests in someone's hands, and there is no authority that can control it and do whatever. I do believe that the way the world will function is there will be countries that will come up with their own cryptocurrencies, just the way that there are currencies that exist in the country right now. And then there will be an exchange between those cryptocurrencies, just the way it is even right now. So the difference will be, instead of a bank running and regulating that cryptocurrency, it will basically be open for everyone, but the larger circulation will be driven by the country's citizens. So imagine today, think of this fact that if you use a Paytm regularly, or if you use PhonePe regularly, or if you use Google Pay regularly, that's a form of an alternate currency.
Yeah.
It's still using money, but it's still become almost like a currency. Your phone is like a currency, and you're just scanning a QR code and you're paying through something. Now, if that gets changed or replaced by a cryptocurrency that India has released, frankly, there is no difference. But the power will be that it's not something that's centralized or regulated by someone. You can't just randomly generate more of it, and there is no physical movement of that. All of it is just digital. So I think it's just a natural evolution that's going to happen sooner than later. And I see a world where countries and perhaps even networks or whosoever wishes to, they can create their own currency and just create exchanges between the other currencies that exist. And all of that rides on the blockchain technology.
A friend of mine actually started his investment journey and he skipped the stock markets, went straight to the crypto exchange and he got the eKYC verified and all, and he went to Dogecoin and bought like 1,000 rupees of Dogecoin at 30 rupees. Now it's sitting at 20 rupees or something.
Wow.
I want to ask about balance in life, and do you think one should aim for having balance early on at a time when we are really ambitious, we don't have much liabilities, we can work a lot more? I personally don't have balance in life. I just like work all the time, work or study and then go back to sleep. Do you think this is something that I should like think about, having balance early on?
So I really don't know what the definition of balance is, because it's thrown around so frivolously. Work-life balance, ye balance, wo balance. The way that at least I think about this, Ishan, is all in units of energy. And what I mean by that is, do I have the energy on a daily basis to do the things that I really want to do? And if yes, then whatever way that I'm navigating through life is my balance. Mm-hmm. That is it. Now, that could mean 80% work. It could mean 80% sleep. It could mean 80% leisure, whatever the case is. But as long as I have energy to do whatever I want to do that's making me progress, I have balance. Finding that out is a discovery process. And for everyone, it's very different. It's not the same. It's not the same ratio, because it could very well be that, for instance, I don't know, but I'm just speculating. It could very well be that you are a night person and your energy peaks at night, because that's when you are clear. That's when you think you're best. While I am someone who has the maximum energy when I get up in the morning. And that's why I get up really early and I sleep very early as well. And that's just the mechanism. Now, does that mean that you don't have balance in your life क्योंकि लोग बोलते हैं कि time से सोना चाहिए, time से उठना चाहिए, and I have balance? No. Balance is a very personal definition. And as I said, as long as you are managing your energy in a way that you get work done that makes you progress, that's your balance. Find that out. It's a discovery process. You will explore and you will chance upon or discover or figure out what your energy mix is from the kind of things that you do. But that is the only way that you can get to balance.
I was recently reading this book called as Rework that you recommended. Just started reading that one.
It's a great
that one has a lot of interesting information about just how to work in life. Okay, why do you think people don't understand the importance of compounding? Because I read that book called as Psychology of Money and I got to learn about how important that is. They take an example of Warren Buffett and talk about his journey, started at 11. If he would have started at 30, then what his net worth would have been. Where do you think people don't understand it in the practical sense? We all have understood the equation when we were in 8th or 9th grade, but the practicality of that, I think a lot of people don't stress upon too much. Like my mom, like I showed her that I literally like doubled my investments in crypto. She was like, nikalo, jaldi nikalo.
Can't blame your mom. The simple answer is because it requires something which is the rarest of rare things: patience. It requires you to actually be insanely and obsessively patient with slow growth in the early days, because you know it's going towards the right thing. That's not a trait that most people have, because we are always trained at just getting things instantly. And more so the current generation, for no fault of yours. You're just growing up in a world where everything that you want is available at the speed of thought. So you don't even know what it is to wait for things. We in our generation, for no design, it's not that we were smarter than you all, but we just didn't have any options. So हमारे पास कोई जरिया ही नहीं था except for waiting. फोन चाहिए, wait करो. अगर कुछ चिट्ठी चाहिए, wait करो. अगर
Google खोलो, wait
कोई
करो.
लोन लेना है, wait करो. हर चीज के लिए लाइनें थी, हर चीज के लिए कतार थी. तो the world was very different. But what I think it did to us subconsciously is it in some way taught us how to wait and how to be okay with waiting. But the generation that you were born in does not have that liberty, because you're just getting everything right now. So it becomes really, really hard for an entire generation to be growing up on the internet and to have things at their disposal to appreciate what patience means. So if I speak about compounding and I say ki for the first 50 years of your life, you're not going to see as much wealth as you see now, you'll be like, nahi karna. Kyun karu? Pagal thodi hu. I will enjoy myself and spend it on all the things, live in the moment, live in the present, all of those nice things. And that's where compounding goes for a toss.
How do you think one can find purpose early on in life? And do you think it takes like a really long time, like unless you're like into your 40s, 50s, only then you can find your purpose? It takes a lot of time, or you can find it early on as well?
I think, so finding purpose is, in my definition, the wrong way of thinking about it. One does not find their purpose, one grows into their purpose. And that means that it by definition will take a long while. It is not something that you're just going to find one day and just build your life around it. But that also means it necessitates you to explore and not to settle. Because it's very easy कि आप college गए, फिर उसके बाद एक नौकरी कर ली, and you think of it as your purpose. अब जिंदगी भर वही करते रहेंगे, फिर उसके बाद ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एक MBA कर लिया, कोई master's की degree कर ली, and that's it. But if you haven't spent time in exploring, if you haven't given yourself the opportunity to explore, if you haven't figured anything that you could have done but you had no idea about, then essentially you're going to be stuck with a purposeless life, and you're going to think that that is the only thing that's available. You're going to complain for the rest of your life, and that will be, unfortunately, a really sad life. But the ones who genuinely find purpose are not the ones who knew from before ki kya karna hai life mein, but the ones who never stopped looking. And they suddenly did things that grew into their purpose. Like what you're doing right now, which is creating content. Who knows where it takes you? And it needn't be that your career becomes a YouTuber. Like that's not what you're aiming for, and that's not what I'm sure you'll settle at. But you have no idea where it takes you, because this could be one chance conversation with someone else on the other side, and they're like, "Hey, Ishan, have you considered this?" And you're like, "No, I haven't considered." "Why? Would you want to consider?" And it's like, "Sure, why not?" And the next thing you know, you're doing something completely different. Maybe in crypto, or maybe something else. Who knows? And that's the beauty of it, which is not thinking that life has a predetermined course, but actually thinking that life is nothing but a mechanism to keep creating opportunities. And if you keep creating opportunities for yourself, you will ultimately find purpose.
I like that a lot because I made 5 videos on Python programming language. And then an academy contacted me saying that, hey, you've made videos on this. Can you also teach on our platform? I was just, wow, amazing.
Exactly, right? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that you would be a teacher while you're still a student? But you are now. And God knows where it takes you. Like the next thing you know, you're starting up your own Python school. And the next thing you know, that you're starting up your own academy. And the next thing you know, you're doing something else. Who knows?
Okay. I have one more question. That is, who are the people that you have learned the most from?
Several, yeah. I can't name just one or a few. I'm an intently curious person, and I'm a very keen observer. So I tend to learn a lot from everyone, even if I don't know them. Twitter has been brilliant. I've learned so much from Naval by just his thoughts. I've learned so much from Elon Musk. I've learned so much from Jeff Bezos. I've learned so much from even homegrown J.R.D. Tata, Mukesh Ambani. Learned so much from artists. Shah Rukh Khan, while I feel that he's a terrible actor, but he's one of the finest entrepreneurs this country has.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I really feel that he's one of the finest entrepreneurs. Yeah. Like how many people do you know who came from nothing and are now sitting on $1 billion of net worth?
A lot of that comes from his films, right?
Yeah, no, that's a key. I don't think it comes from films, but it comes from, and I think he understood the creator economy better and earlier than most others. He's just a creator. So he's like, filmon se maine, what I got was distribution. And through that distribution, he's like, okay, now I'm going to get an IPL team. And now I'm going to go and do brand endorsements. And now I'm going to go and invest my money in XYZ places. Now I'm going to become a producer. Now I'm going to become some other, I don't know what all businesses that he run. So essentially he created a distribution just as a smart creator would through his films, but then he used this distribution for several other things which worked for him. And I think that's, I don't know of too many people in the world who are so recognizable and are so rich. And he'd be one of the few people there. Like, it's guaranteed that more people know Shah Rukh Khan than Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Mukesh Ambani or any of the rich people. And yet he's rich. He's insanely rich. So he's on that quadrant where you're actually rich and famous, as against most people who are rich but not famous, which is, by the way, the best quadrant to be in, according to me.
Which is better, yeah.
But he never wanted that, right? He's the kind of person who's like, nahi, mujhe rich or famous hona hai. Like, mujhe koi farak nahi padta agar main chowpatty pe jaake golgappe nahi kha sakta. I don't care. I have thousands of people lining up outside my house every day, and all I have to do is just go to my balcony and wave. So that's it.
Talking about wealth, how do you think that one should think about stopping at one point and being like, okay, this is enough? And do you think even someone should be at that point saying that, okay, I now want to stop, enough is enough, I now want to just stop doing what I'm doing right now? Because like at one point, once you have attained wealth, enough wealth that you can sustain for the rest of your life without worrying too much about that, do you think it's important to like stop at one point?
Yeah. So that's the dichotomy. The dichotomy is that the people who don't stop because they love what they're doing. They're not doing it for the wealth.
Okay.
They have already gotten past that way long. Like, I don't think Mukesh Ambani has any reason to show up at office every day.
It's a game for him. Yeah.
I think they're just doing it because they intensely and intently love what they're doing. And that makes it powerful. So I don't think the question is, should a one stop when they have enough wealth? Because I don't think that they're chasing wealth, and that's not what they're after. They just love what they're doing. And if you love what you're doing, then don't stop. Don't ever stop. If you don't like what you're doing, but you're getting money out of it, then why would you even spend one more day on it if you've got enough money? So then absolutely stop. But then you know that the only reason why you were doing it was to get the money. And the ironic thing is that those are exactly the kind of people who will never stop because they're chasing the money. So as long as they work more and they get more money, they will continue working more and will never stop. And that is then the conundrum, which is people will always keep working because it either gives them money, which is what they're running after, or they love what they're doing, which means that they were never running after money. But we tend to put them in the same bucket when the objectives and the motivations are very different.
One last message that you would like to give to the audience that's watching this video till the end. They have been through the whole video and they want to know your last message to all of them. I think they're going to be in college itself. So what would you say to them?
I'd only say one thing. You are most certainly in your late teens or your early 20s. And the world will keep telling you, jaldi se settle ho jao, jaldi se settle ho jao, jaldi se settle ho jao. Because that's what they will prescribe. And the worst thing that you can do in your 20s is to settle. Please continue exploring. This is the best decade that you will have, where you have the energy to do whatever you want to do. You have zero expectations because frankly, people don't expect you to do anything remarkable in your 20s. And that means you actually have the power within you to go and explore and figure out what is it that you're good at and what are the things that you love doing. And if you can get that, then this will be the best decade that will set you up for the rest of your life.
Amazing, Ankur. Thank you so much for joining me here.
It was amazing talking to you. It was a pleasure. All the best.
Thank you so much. That is the episode. I hope you got to learn something from this conversation. Let me know in the comment section what was your biggest takeaway from this. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and also you can follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of other important tips about college, about freelancing, career and all. So make sure that you check me out over there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the next video.